What's going on, YouTube? We're back here with another video on Etheria restart. In today's video, I wanted to talk about what are the best gear sets to go get for your DPS units. Now, I might be using the word best a bit too loosely, but I'm just going to be talking from my own experience, especially as a free-to-play player, especially as someone that was able to do Hell IV, Doki Doki, and Terramoton really early in the game, a lot more quicker than I expected or I thought I would do, and I know I did it a lot more quicker than people that spend money on this game, and I'm actually able to auto farm this for the last couple of days as well. 10 out of 10s, I don't even need to touch anything, you know. So I do think I'm in a really good place to talk on what gear sets can really work. I'm not saying other ones don't. I do want to say that I'm not saying other ones don't, but I just know what will work because I've done it with my own experience. Obviously more testing is going to be required, but the thing about testing stuff in this game is that you're going to have characters that work differently between others. You're going to have characters that scale off different than others. You're going to have characters that just work different than others as well. And it also depends the team comp you have with certain characters. So for me, number one, I'm gonna have to say Momentum and Fury. I think these two together, Momentum alone, definitely number one. I think they're just insane because the additional 12% crit rate is always gonna help your damage dealers to get the stats to 100%, which you should be aiming for, of course, and that you should be getting. But look, when attacking for each debuff or control effect on the target, damage increases by 6% up to 36%. And this is why I feel like I was able to do some crazy damage with my characters and able to do Hell IV really quickly, was because I had this momentum piece. Because in my Terramonte team, I have the Ting that had the momentum set, but guess what? I had debuffers like Kloss and Freya there. So Freya could apply a debuff in Nightmare, and Kloss could apply 3 with defense down, speed down, and hack in progress. So that was 4 debuffs altogether. So again, 6, 12, 18, 24% damage is pretty insane, you know. 24% increased damage just off those couple debuffs are going to be amazing. Then you look at something like Doki Doki, where I use my Messiah. He's obviously going to have momentum set. Guess who's in that team? A Kloss, who gives 3 debuffs. Guess who's also in the team? Casio, who gives 2 debuffs, attack down and slumber. So this is why team comps also matter regarding gear sets, okay? So for my Doki Doki, my Kloss goes first, debuff down, you know. Then my Casio goes second, does her slumber, attack down. Then my Lily goes third, she buffs up my Messiah. Then my Messiah goes there to ult. So that's why I could trigger so much of the momentum up to 30% with Casio and Kloss. Obviously having the effect accuracy is going to matter too, and as I said, having the right team comps with the characters to trigger their gear sets are going to matter as well. So that's why momentum works really well for me, because I have 2 characters that could use the crit rate and abuse that damage because I have debuffers on my team. Now with Fury is another amazing piece. Eventually in the late game, I believe you're going to want to go 12 piece, 8 piece, 6 piece. That's how it's going to work. For now, you could go, you know, you could run with 12-12 for a while, but 12-8 might be a lot more viable to get. But Fury, the attack bonus is always gonna, you know, be kind of nice. But when an Animus lands a crit, where you should be building 100% crit rate, the damage result of that hit increases by additional 12%. So that additional 12% is always gonna be just helpful and really nice for your DPS units, especially when you have units that hit multiple times. For example, Messiah hits 2 times, my Ting hits 1 with an extra attack, so he hits twice as well. So I'm able to get 12% because, you know, it's 12% per crit, and I'm gonna crit on both hits, I'll tell you that. So I'm able to trigger that every time too. And you also gotta understand what makes this set more crazy is when you have a character like Lily. And the reason why I say that is because she could push someone all the way up to take their turn. So before the debuffs goes away, you might be able to get an extra ult in or extra hit in, you know. So it's small things like that that could make gear sets a lot more valuable. So that's why for me, I have Momentum and Fury at number 1, because I know with the team comp I have, with the damage dealers I have, the way how my team works, I could abuse this matrix effect so much. So that's why I said at the start of the video, man, characters work differently, but having the right team comp matters a lot. So that's why for me, Momentum and Fury are going to be number 1 straight up. That's just what it is. Now I think Kenai, Onslaught, Harvest are definitely good ones, and you can still get by through the whole game with those. I just think these two are better. Kenai and momentum is something I do want to test out together. I know eventually you're going to move to 12.86, but those 12.12 for now could work really well, and I just feel like momentum with Kenai could, you know, do some good stuff, because it's the crit rate, crit damage, which is going to help your DPS units. But the first 3 instances of damage dealt by Animus during the turn increases by 25%, 15% and 5% respectively. So I believe the way how this works is your first hit is 25, the second one's 15, the third one's 5. It's a really good damage boost. Then you're partnering that up with momentum, so imagine they just have a whole bunch of debuffs. Yeah, Kenai and momentum could definitely probably do some crazy amounts of damage together. That is something I do want to test. I just have to get the right, you know, sets and get places for them. But as I said, other things can work. A Kenai onslaught, a Kenai harvest can work. Or momentum onslaught could work. A momentum harvest could also work as well. A fury Kenai could work too, you know. But I just know what helped me clear the game probably a lot more quicker than I should have, or well, the game will clear Hell IV a lot more quicker than I probably should have been able to do, and I'm pretty sure it's because of this gear set, because the damage difference between this gear set and me using other ones, I could see the difference. I actually did test it. When I do Doki Doki, I could do Doki Doki 10 out of 10 times on auto without obviously touching it when I have this gear set on. If I swap this gear set for an onslaught of Kenai, sometimes it just doesn't do it. It might go like 5 out of 10, 4 out of 10. It could go 0 out of 10. Like, there's a big difference. And it does make sense, because you could tell there's a damage drop off just by looking at these numbers, you know. But yeah, for me, momentum and fury are going to be the go-to. Momentum and Kenai, I feel like could definitely be insane together, especially if you could kind of like rush something. But I think it could be like really, 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 really good together. But as I said, I do believe other gear sets can work. I just do feel like the Kenai, Fury and momentum are definitely the top end, which would make sense because you do get them later in the game than early in the game, unlike, you know, onslaught and stuff. So it does kind of make sense if those gear sets were statistically, mathematically better, you know. But look, that's gonna be it from your boy, man. I just wanted to keep it short, sweet, simple, man. Look at what your characters need, what they scale off, how they work, what team comp you could put them in. Then go for the gear set that's going to work with that character and team comp. As I said, for me, getting that momentum and fury was a must, because I knew it was going to increase my damage so much, because I use debuffers, you know. And I also have a Lily, so before those debuffs goes, I could, you know, get some extra attacks in. I could get an extra ult in. So just small things like that you have to look at, just so you guys could know. And as I said, not every DPS character is probably going to scale off crit rate or crit damage as well. But even if characters don't, like for example a Borg, yeah, he can't use crit rate or crit damage, but guess what, I still might put momentum on him. Why not? You know what I'm saying? That extra % damage could still be insane, you know. I don't know if I'll use Kenai. I'll be honest, I probably wouldn't use Kenai because he only does 1 hit, but that extra 25% could be nice. You know, the damage increases here might be able to outdo attack percentage on him. Maybe not. That will take testing. But yeah, as I said, man, just look at what your characters need, what they scale off, how they work, and if you have the right team comp for it. But that's gonna be it for me. Like, subscribe, run up. I'll catch y'all in the next one. I'm out.
To you